welcome to episode 78 of the Life in General podcast. My name is Nick.
My name is Ian.
Why can I say it like that?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just doing my job.
Is that what it is?
I'm doing my job, Nick. You gotta
wait. Hold on. That's your job, but not taking notes.
I have plenty of notes. I have a whole tablet full of notes.
Bullshit.
It's all right here. I've got tons of notes.
That is a fucking website you're on.
But it's a website that has notes. It's all my notes.
Oh my god. People, I swear to God, he kills me every fucking day. I
try.
Every episode, I die a little bit more inside.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@lifeingeneralpodcast.com. Check us out on Twitter at LIGpod. On Facebook, we got a page on there. You know, I really need to post more stuff on there, though. Really, the only thing I post on Facebook are just like episode releases.
You really should. I mean, you're really slacking, Nick.
Go to hell, Ian. I post more stuff on my Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm Nick Fowler 11. But yeah, we're on iTunes, Google Podcast. Hey, by the way, speaking of Google Podcasts, have you checked out the built-in app on your phone?
No.
Because there's a native podcast app on your phone now.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, I think it's called Podcasts. I think, or Google Podcasts, whatever it is.
Is it automatically upload?
It should be. It should be automatically be on there. Is it not?
Not that I can see.
Oh, there's no like search function on your phone. I don't know.
Yeah.
Android phones suck, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, just top podcast.
Yeah, type in podcast. This is like really great.
Podcast Addict is the only thing that came up.
Huh? Okay, I don't know. I thought maybe.
I don't even use Podcast Addict.
Yeah, neither do
I use Spotify.
But yeah, we're on
Podbean. I mean,
we're also on iTunes. I'm sorry, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, all the other places. So this is our big vinyl episode for July, correct? Yes. So this is now like what, 6 months we've been doing this?
Something like that.
So the first episode of the month, we do these. I think the first one wasn't like necessarily like vinyl related. I think the first one we did was the one where we talked about the bone music.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So I think ever since then it's been about vinyl records. Yeah. So let's see. We're gonna discuss some upcoming vinyl releases for July. We're gonna talk about some things that we found over the course of the past month. We're gonna talk a little rock and roll Hall of Fame, which I'm springing this topic on Ian.
Yeah, well,
I just thought about it last night,
and I'm just as prepared with it being sprung on me as I would have been if you told me about it a week ago.
Because you're a jackass. And we're also going to talk about some of our top albums that we would love to find on vinyl.
Yes. That's what I came with notes. I came with notes of those because I've got a whole list of them.
No, that's not notes. Okay, Ian has his Discogs app up.
Yeah, but I've got 77 albums in there that I'm looking for.
Okay.
And they're all well, not all of them.
I had a really, by the way,
I would say no less than 20 of them are obscure albums.
So I had like a top 10 I wanted to find, right?
Okay, I can do top 10.
I had a really hard time finding 10. There were more than 10. But anyway, we'll talk about that when we get there.
Sure.
First off, so I want to talk about an album that was released last month.
Okay.
Came out June 28th.
Okay. That was, yeah.
Now, well, so it's a band. I've never heard of this band before. I have no idea where they're from. And I don't even know how to say the name. But it's Brujeria.
Okay.
Brujeria.
Okay.
So they released a 7-inch called American Czar. I'm going to pull up a picture of this real quick, Ian, so you can look at this.
Okay.
This is it's interesting, and I almost want to buy it.
Okay.
Come on, refresh.
I won't buy anything unless I've listened to it, but.
So it has a picture of Donald Trump on the cover.
Yeah, it looks like in a.
He is
dressed in a Chinese communist military.
Well, that's the Russian symbol.
Okay, the communist countries, all their uniforms look the same.
So he's dressed up like a Russian.
Yeah, a Russian general.
A Russian general.
Yeah,
and it's got a flag emblem, a flag pin on his shirt that's X'd out, and it just says American Czar over his face. I don't know. It's like hardcore thrash metal, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I probably wouldn't like it.
But it's interesting. I thought the album cover was interesting.
I do like the album cover.
And it's released in, this is really interesting also, it's released in red, green, and white vinyl.
Why red, white, and green? Is it the colors of the Russian flag?
No, it's the color of the fucking Mexican flag.
Oh, okay.
Which I found that really interesting. I got a good laugh out of it. It's on Amazon for
bring that back up, or at least spell it for me again.
The name of the band?
Yeah.
It's BRUJERIA. And when I looked it up on Amazon. I want to say it was like $12
Okay.
for the 7-inch. It's $15 on Amazon.
Okay. I just want to hear this. I want to hear the band before I consider. It's on Spotify.
Is it on there? Is the album cover on there too?
Yeah.
Or just that's hilarious.
Yeah. See.
Okay, I hadn't looked to see if it was on.
That's 2 songs: "American Czar" and "Lord Nazi Russo," or Russo.
Okay.
Russo.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll check it out. So yeah, if you're interested in thrash metal or whatever it was, it's definitely. I love the album cover. I thought the album cover was pretty funny looking.
Okay, let's see. On one level, however you pronounce the name of the band, are a brutally powerful rock band whose music walks along the border of grindcore and death metal.
Okay.
On another, they are a street-level exercise in performance art. To take them at their word, the members, I'm not going to read more, but because it's pretty long.
Plus, it's always really thrilling to our listeners when we read things.
Right. Well, they're dressed. I mean, you should probably look them up. It looks like they're dressed as like a Mexican drug cartel.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They've got like
that's interesting.
Bandanas over their faces, and one guy's holding a machete.
Oh.
And it says. It says they're really not members of a drug cartel any more than Guar or alien warriors who crash landed in Antarctica.
Okay.
So, because apparently it's part of their shtick.
Their shtick, yeah.
Probably not something I'm going to be interested in, but I do like the cover.
So maybe that's why it's released on Mexican flag colors.
Maybe. It didn't say where they were from, so they could be a Mexican band.
They could be.
Could be just a Mexican American band or Hispanic American band.
Yeah. So yeah, when I was going through record releases, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Well, hey, whatever. There has been a void in the realm of political rock or protest rock for a very long time.
The last one that comes to my mind is probably NoFX.
And it's even borderline because it's more, making fun of. I wouldn't necessarily call that protest, but I mean it is. Yeah, that American Idiot, War and Errorism by NoFX.
Yeah, which I think came out after American Idiot.
It did. It did. Not by much though, maybe a year.
Yeah. Franco on American is a great song though.
Yeah, it is.
If you're
a good album. It's a good album.
If you're a NoFX fan. Yeah. Speaking of NoFX, I just bought White Trash, Two Heaves and a Bean on vinyl, which has Liza and Louise, which is a fantastic song about lesbians. If you're
well, I mean, NoFX, they have a nice variety of topics to talk about.
They're a funny band.
Yeah, they're a good band. I like the album War on Errorism a lot. I like all their albums so far.
Ribbed is a good album too. That's got Together on the Sand, which is a fucking hilarious song. Also,
Burning P.
No, that's on Punk and Drug.
Right. Okay.
Together on the Sand is I'll play it for you after the show.
Okay.
It's a good little acoustic song.
But yeah, as far as like protest rock goes, yeah, I mean we had that in the early 2000s. American Idiot, War and Errorism by NoFX, American Doll Posse by Tori Amos. Yeah. That might be, and even that's borderline. But other than that, Rise Against Machines.
Rage Against the Machine.
Rage Against Machines. In the 90s.
Yeah.
A lot
of their stuff was political.
And some of the kind of hardcore rap or hip hop I'm just giving you shit. You said and you keep distracting my thought process here. Like some of the gangster rap of the early 90s, like
Public Enemy,
Body Count, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But beyond that, we haven't had anything.
No.
And if ever there was a need for it, it might be now.
And which is funny because we had there's a long, I wouldn't say a decade, but there was a good 6 to 8 years where a lot of the rock music had that political edge
in
to
the
it.
90s.
No, I'm talking 60s.
Oh, in the 60s, yeah. But even in the 90s, there was some, but it wasn't.
It wasn't a lot.
No. Oh yeah, in the 60s. I mean that was the beginning of protest rock.
Yeah, but a lot of it was like subtle.
Oh yeah.
But so I was trying to think of. There's one song in particular that I was going to mention, but I forgot what it was. So as far as like upcoming releases for July, normally I have a pretty decent list. There just doesn't seem to be a whole lot coming out in July. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just we're getting into summer. I mean, I don't know if sales dip over the summer. I know podcast listenership dips during the summer, but
at least that's what we're hoping.
at least that's what normally happens to our show.
Right.
So July. So there's for the whole month of July. There's 453 releases coming out, and there's a lot of stuff coming out, but there's a lot of stuff, frankly, I've never heard of before.
Right.
So July 5th, there's really nothing of note really coming out. The best thing I come up with was Sly and the Family Stone's Greatest Hits. Was really the only thing even remotely of note coming out that week. And there's 119 releases coming out on July 5th.
Huh.
So
that's really the only one that stuck out.
Yeah. So July 12th, there's 156 coming out that week. The 50th anniversary EP of Space Oddity is going to be released that week. And then Goldfinger's Hang Ups, which is the third month in a row now that I've mentioned that being released.
Okay. Right.
So it's obviously been pushed back a couple of times.
Yep.
Hootie and the Blowfish's Cracked Rear View is the third month in a row I've mentioned that now.
I thought that was out. I thought I saw that.
Did you?
More music. I think that's out now.
Oh, is it? Okay, it might be.
So.
It might be out. They still had a list online for July 12th. That might be out.
Yeah, last time I was at Dearborn Music, I saw it.
Okay. Then Motley Crue's releasing Theater of Pain in translucent orange, which I don't know why orange. Red would make sense, but I don't know why orange.
I don't know. I don't know why most of the colors they choose like that.
I think some of them they're just trying to come out with a new color to make people buy them, probably.
Yeah, I guess.
And then Paul McCartney is releasing a couple albums that I'd never heard of. Amoeba Gig. Paul is Live, I've heard of that before.
Yeah. Some of the albums that were released on CD that were never released on vinyl.
Probably. Wings Over America.
Yeah, that was late 90s, early 2000s, wasn't it?
I want to say.
Yeah. Because it's a live album, if memory serves, too. It
is
was
it?
like a reunion album, I think.
Okay. And then July 19th, you got 98 releases coming out. You got the Conehead soundtrack.
Really?
That's actually a really good soundtrack.
It is a good soundtrack, yeah.
Frank Zappa is really there. Is Mother Mania is coming out, which is the best of mothers.
Okay.
James Taylor, I know you're not a big James Taylor fan, but he's coming out with a box set, it's the Warner Brothers albums from 1970 to 1976, so it's a 6 LP set. It's being released. The Malcolm X soundtrack is coming out, and The Many Faces of Motley Crue is being released, which is an album of other people. It's various artists doing.
Oh, it's a like tribute album.
It's a tribute album.
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
exactly. So that might be kind of cool to check out.
Yeah, I'd listen to it. I wouldn't buy it. Honestly, at one point I had Motley Crue albums on my list, and then I went back and listened to their albums.
A lot of them don't stand up.
They don't stand up. The only one I could see myself really buying would be Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah, I've got Dr. Feelgood on vinyl, and I've got Theater of Pain, just because I love Home Sweet Home. That's a great song.
And I don't. That was one of the songs I never really much cared for.
And then July 26th, there's 80 releases coming out that week. Janet Jackson's catalog is being released. The Runaways, their self-titled album, and Queens of Noise are both being re-released.
Okay.
On vinyl.
Cool.
So
I'll probably pick those up.
I probably will pick those up. And then one I was really looking forward to is Freak Show by Silverchair.
Okay, yeah.
Silverchair is one of those like kind of obscure bands, grunge bands. But they've had some really good music, and Freak Show is a really good album.
Yeah.
I've got Frog Stomp, and I've got Neon Ballroom.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I thought I had another one, but maybe those are the only two I have. But yeah, I definitely want to pick up Freak Show.
Yeah.
As far as things that we found in June, what have you picked up this month?
Well,
since I've been talking for like 20 minutes here.
I've been interjecting a bit. Well, I finally broke down and used Discogs to actually buy something, which I hadn't done before. I picked up Catfish Rising by Jethro Tull. It's obscure because it's not going to be re-released. It's one of those albums that just won't.
What I can say is like post. I like Jethro Tull. I like Jethro Tull's like late 60s through 79 catalog. I think that's probably their. I like Catfish Rising. It's probably my second favorite post 1980s album besides behind Rooster Branches.
Yeah, Rooster Branches is probably their best post 70s album.
Yeah,
and I'd say Catfish is probably very close to being second for me. So yeah, we're kind of on the same page. But yeah, Catfish Rising, I picked that up. Everything else was kind of. I got Brutal Planet by Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
It's not an obscure album necessarily because you can get it on Amazon new for like $28. I paid $39 for it at the store, but the sticker said it was virgin vinyl, so I didn't care. I was going to buy it no matter what.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. But because I'm trying to complete my.
Is that the one you had a problem with?
No. Paranormal. I bought that, and it was a manufacturer defect on side 3.
Okay.
So. Which is simple, Dearborn Music took it back, and
they're great to deal with.
Yeah, and then they apologized, like, well, you didn't fucking press the album. What are you apologizing for? But anyway, what else have I gotten? I picked up the last 2 Jethro Tull remasters that are already out that I didn't have on vinyl. Too Old Rock and Roll and Passion Play. So that's complete up to present day. There's going to be at least one more that they do for sure. But we're going to have a whole show about that coming up in September, I think.
Is it September?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we're going to do a whole episode on Jethro Tull vinyl.
Yeah. What else have I picked up?
I don't know. I can go over some of mine while you're thinking.
Yeah, go ahead. Because I didn't. I should have. That's where I should have made a list. Yes.
Notes. Hey, by the way, Ian, once you get everything cataloged in Discogs, you can actually go back and look at what the last
purchases I made.
Last purchases, yeah. So I don't know how, because I wasn't really looking for anything. Somehow I bought a lot of vinyl the past month.
Yeah.
Like far more than I've ever bought before. So it was actually kind of hard for me to make a list that was like under 15 different things. So I just kind of picked out things that I found that I hadn't necessarily seen in a while or for as cheap as I got them for. I got Leonard Skinner's original pressing from 77 of Street Survivors, which I don't know if you know the album. It was released, I think it was like a week after their plane crash that killed half the band.
Right.
And it's the album cover where like a couple of the guys that died in the plane crash, or like there's fire behind them. I don't know. It's a really good album though. So I picked up an original pressing of that. I got the Childish Gambino Because the Internet box set that comes with the manuscript, which I've flipped through. I haven't really read a whole lot of it yet, but I definitely plan on it. Because he's a great writer. I don't know if you've seen. Oh, we watched. You've seen Atlanta.
Yeah, first season. I haven't watched the second season yet.
So yeah, I picked up Because of the Internet. I got an original pressing of Physical Graffiti by Led Zeppelin, which was actually kind of torn up. I'd like take the gatefold apart a little bit and fix it, but it looks great now, and I got it for like next to nothing, so it's not that big of a deal. Right. I picked up Bobby Tarantino 1 and 2 by Logic. I had to order those from the UK, and they're both bootlegs, and they actually both of them turn out great. One of them I had to clean because they had like 2 little skips on the second side of it, but they sound great. I finally got my Plus 44 When Your Heart Stops Beating, which is a fantastic fucking album. If you're a Blink-182 fan, you definitely have to listen to that album. It's a fantastic album. I picked up the Miles Davis Bitches Brew. It's an original pressing from 1970. I got the 10th anniversary remix of the song Welcome to the Black Parade by Steve Aoki.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of the song itself, but it's on a picture disc. It looked kind of cool, so I only paid like $15 for it, so it wasn't that big of a deal. What else did I get? I got the People box set by Hillsong United, which I'm sure you don't give a shit about, but
no,
it's Christian music. But it actually came with a really cool platter mat and stuff. So
although I have pointed out there is one Christian artist I listen to, but
And then the one
music has to be really good for me to get past that.
And then one that was actually on my list of albums that I was really trying to find is actually going to be number 2 on my list for today. But I actually found it on vinyl and bought it. Is Thelonious Monk and John Coltrane at Carnegie Hall. And the copy I was really looking for, I was really hoping to find, was a mono pressing of it. But the mono pressing is fucking expensive, and I don't know why. But I actually ended up getting the 60th anniversary stereo pressing of it. And it's a fantastic album. And the story behind it is, it's, because do you know anything?
Well, we talked about it the other day at work.
Did we?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so John Coltrane had been fired by Miles Davis. I don't know if it was like late 56, early 57. And so he starts playing with Thelonious Monk. They released an album like early 57. And then for the next like 9 or 10 months, they were playing day in and day out. Obviously, you could really tell they were used to playing with each other. So the Carnegie Hall concert was from November of 57. It was actually, the concert was like a month, or I think it was a month and a half after Coltrane had recorded Blue Train. But Blue Train didn't come out until February of the following year.
58. Which
Blue Train it might be Coltrane's probably second best album behind. It's the second best album behind A Love Supreme.
Okay.
Which A Love Supreme's a fantastic album too. But anyway, so the concert's in November 57, and they've been talked about for years after that, but there was no one had a recording of this. And then so somebody in the Library of Congress, who apparently it's the largest recording library anywhere, at least in the United States, somebody stumbles across the master of this concert in 2005. And I think it was pressed in 2006, 2007, 2008, somewhere around that time frame. And those pressings, the original pressings of that, are ridiculously expensive. And then they repressed it again in 2012. And then they just repressed this one in 2017. So that's the one I got, was the 2017 60th anniversary of it. It's a fantastic concert. I listened to it. It was like I couldn't wait to get home to play this damn thing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, if you get your hands on a copy of it, it's a great concert. I got a great price on it too, so I couldn't beat it.
Yeah.
So that's what I found, at least for the.
Well, I remembered a few more that I.
Oh, what else did you find?
I picked up Led Zeppelin 1, brand new. So I'll get all the remastered reissues of Zeppelins. I finally got Hysteria by Def Leppard.
Okay.
Because that's within the last month. Same as, I think Pyromania I got the month before, but I finally got Hysteria. I got The Final Countdown by Europe. It's kind of a guilty pleasure album, but I had to have it. I got Grand Illusion by Styx. Because I actually like that album a lot.
I don't know if I've ever actually listened to that.
It's a pretty good album, pretty much from beginning to end. I'm not a huge Styx fan, but out of their whole catalog, that album is a pretty consistently good album. So I'm trying to think, when did I get Static Age? You said it tells us when to put these in.
Oh, I don't know. It does. It tells you online. It does.
Well, I'm online.
Well, not through the app. I meant like through the website. See, like I'm actually on the website here, Ian.
Okay.
Because I remember there was I picked up.
But I got Misfits, Static Age, and Volume 2, and that might be it that I've gotten recently.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I was trying to look back and see which one it was, but I bought a used album not too long ago, and it was like an original pressing of something, or an older pressing at least, from the 70s. Like I said, I don't remember which album it was, but and I was like looking through it, and it has like whoever owned the record before had written a bunch of stuff on the inside cover.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot.
Which I always think that's kind of cool.
Right.
To
Depends
kind of
on what they write.
Yeah. This guy, I think, just wrote his name or property of whatever, but it's just kind of cool that looking back on that and thinking to yourself, all the times this album's been played over the years, and I think it's why there's more of a draw for me to older pressings than there is newer stuff.
Yeah.
Even though I like having new pressings because they look nice on the shelf and all that with the big gatefold and all that,
For me,
the big spine.
It's all about uniformity. So, like, I don't mind having a mixture of new and used, but within an artist, I prefer to have all new or all used.
Mm-hmm.
So, in some cases, that's not going to work out. Specifically, Jethro Tull probably won't work out that way. But
yeah, because you're never going to get a lot of, especially their
latter day stuff. They're not going to re-release.
No, they're never going to release it.
I thought there's 2 other albums I picked up, used ones. I got
this is where notes help.
Yeah, Fragile by Yes and 90125 by Yes.
Okay. So. Oh, that's right. I think I was with you when you bought those.
Yeah, well, with the one for sure, because I think it was with my dad. I bought the other.
Oh,
one.
okay.
But so yeah, I'm sure I'm forgetting something else, but it's me.
But yeah, I picked up a couple of Bowie albums. Oh, there's been a lot of stuff I picked up lately.
Yeah. Well, did you say you bought almost 200 records in the last month?
I didn't buy 200 records, that's for sure.
Oh. No, I guess not. That makes no sense. How many did you say then?
I don't know. Over 40.
Okay, 40. Yeah.
I did pick up. You'll love these. I picked up the NSYNC catalog for my wife.
Oh yeah, I love that. I need to get that for myself.
Big NSYNC fan. It's funny though because my wife's a big NSYNC fan, and I've been looking for their 3 albums for a while, and I could never find them. Or when I did find them, they were like ridiculously fucking expensive. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's people that were either holding on to them, thinking that they're going to be worth something one day, and they're really not.
Right.
Or someone's trying to gouge people for an album.
I see it a lot. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Obviously, I see that all the time. I'll go into antique stores and they'll be charging $18 for something that's got mold and
right.
water damage.
Just because it's a vinyl, they think someone will pay that.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of stuff drives me crazy. But I actually found them apparently. Now, back in the day, I used to shop at Urban Outfitters. And I didn't shop there, but I went in there before.
Right.
We've
been in there.
We'd go down on University of Michigan's campus and walk through that store when we were walking around town. But I didn't know that they had exclusive deals with artists and labels.
Right.
So apparently, NSYNC's 3 albums have been exclusively reissued through Urban Outfitters, and apparently some of their Urban Outfitters exclusive albums are highly collectible, and so they've got a lot of stuff. If you go on their website, they've got a bunch of stuff on there.
I'll have to look at them and see.
Probably nothing else I'd really
want,
but
it's be interesting just to look because we're always, if there's records around, we're looking at them.
Yeah, I'm definitely going through. I'll dig through a crate full of garbage just to flip through and look at albums.
Yeah,
because sometimes you'll come across some things and I won't necessarily buy it, but I'm interested in it just because it's got a cool album cover. And,
right.
I don't know. It's definitely something that's entertaining to me.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, we wouldn't be talking about it this much if it wasn't entertaining.
Well, I talk about records all the time. I talk to records. I talk to people that work about records all the time now too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we both do. You probably more than me just because you're a talker.
Am I a talker?
You're a talker.
That's probably a good thing since we have a podcast that I talk on.
Yeah, well, I talk on the podcast, but I'm not like addicted to talking. I can go many periods of time without talking. Even at work.
Okay,
is what I'm saying.
I was just being silent.
You just at work. You just talk.
I was just letting you talk. I do talk just for the hell of talking sometimes. So as far as I don't know if Ian's planning on still going with us, but we're gonna make a pilgrimage to Cleveland here in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Well, actually, the week after. It'll be the week after this episode comes out.
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yep.
Oh, because this will come out on the 7th, right?
Yes.
July 7th. So yeah, on July 14th, we're gonna make the pilgrimage to Cleveland and go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And originally, I wasn't going to bring up anything about it, but I was kind of thinking over the last couple of days about. I started going through and looking at the bands that were in it because obviously I've been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before, but it was 1995 when I went, I believe. So there's been a lot that's changed as far as who's been inducted and all that stuff.
Right.
So I was going through.
I've never been. So.
No, okay. So I was going back to a list, and really kind of surprised at some of the artists that aren't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And one that I was really kind of surprised is how is Ozzy Osbourne not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
See, I thought he was. I know he's in there with Sabbath.
He's in there with Sabbath, but he's not in there by himself.
Right. Well, that's shocking because I actually thought he was. But Alice Cooper just got in there a few years ago.
Yeah.
So it's not really that shocking, to be honest with you, because it took him that long to get fucking Alice Cooper in there.
Another one that I was really surprised isn't in there, even though I'm not like a huge fan of their music, but they've been, or they were probably one of the most influential bands from the early punk rock era, like late 70s and early 80s, is the New York Dolls.
Yeah,
I mean, and they've only
considering what some of the other obscure bands that they have in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Bands like that should be there.
But they've been eligible for 17 years.
Right.
I think it's 17 years now. But they've only been nominated once over that time.
Right.
And another band from that kind of era, of that music, that I'm really surprised isn't in there is Black Flag.
Right.
How the hell is Black Flag not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I don't know.
They're obviously one of the early influential bands of that period.
Right.
And they've been mentioned as a big influence for many of the grunge bands throughout the 90s.
Right.
So,
it's the same thing with Jethro Tull.
Okay.
Really, think about, even if you just look at their early 10 albums. I mean, it's rock music.
But one of the two things that really hurt Jethro Tull is I can see. I think they should. Obviously, I want to say first and foremost, I think they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Right. I think more so because of their influence
on other artists.
That they've had. But if you look at, they've only had 2 number one albums in the U.S. 2 number one albums in the U.S. Thick as a Brick and Passion Play.
Aqualung didn't hit number one?
Nope.
Okay.
And they've only had 2 top 40 hits in the U.S., which is Living in the Past and Bungalow in the Jungle. Right. They've only had 7 top 100 songs over their career. Yeah. Like I said, I think they should be in there because of how influential the band has been, especially that period, mid to late 70s.
Right.
With Thick as a Brick, Passion Play, Aqualung. Those albums, I think,
mid 60s or late 60s to mid 70s. You said mid to late 70s.
That's what I meant to say mid to late 70s.
No, all those came in the early 70s.
Oh, but I'm saying their influence was.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I'm talking about their influence.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Because I feel like they should be in there more so for their influence than necessarily. But I think the Metallica thing fucking hurts them. Also,
it does. I'm sure the Grammy thing hurts, but it shouldn't because it had nothing to do with them. It's not like they bought the votes or anything.
No.
It was the Academy. It had nothing to do with the band. Mm-hmm. So, for what it's worth, I think obviously they should be there, but it doesn't. It's not. I've gotten less cynical about it over the years. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme.
No, but it'd be
nice.
nice.
It'd be nice recognition, but in the grand scheme, it doesn't fucking matter. Because there's groups and artists in there that I wouldn't even classify as fucking rock music, even under the umbrella.
Well, see, and the next one I was going to talk about is somebody that isn't in the rock umbrella necessarily that I think definitely should be there.
Okay, who's that?
John Coltrane. How the hell is he not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Well, see, jazz I think can fall under that.
Miles Davis was elected in 2006.
Right. Yeah, jazz and blues I think should be qualified under that umbrella because if it weren't for jazz and blues, there would be no rock.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
I mean, it's like
especially Coltrane's style of free jazz. Undeniably is a huge influence on early rock and roll,
especially even into the progressive rock stuff.
But as far as like jazz musicians, big jazz musicians, I think Miles Davis is the only one that's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Huh? Coltrane definitely should be in there. And I think they should go back and because there's a lot of blues artists from the late 30s, early 40s,
definitely
that have been long dead that deserve some recognition in as far as what they were doing and what became rock and roll, because we're talking pre-rock.
Mm-hmm.
What they were doing was what would become rock and roll.
Yeah.
So
and I had 3 other ones too, and this kind of, the Nirvana's in there, right? Yeah, Nirvana's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Green Day's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. How are
Cat Stevens is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I know, but I'm getting to a specific time period.
Okay.
How are Smashing Pumpkins, Soundgarden, and Rage Against the Machine not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Smashing Pumpkins kind of defined or redefined at least what alternative rock was in kind of like the mid 90s. And albums like Melancholy and Siamese Dream definitely paved the way for bands like Panic at the Disco, My Chemical Romance, the kind of sound that came later. They're hugely influential.
Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine, we talked about them earlier with their political stances, but mainly their infusion of rock in hip hop.
Right.
Were hugely influential on bands like Linkin Park that came later. And obviously they were never afraid to go after a tough political issue. So I think they definitely should be in there. But Soundgarden, they were the first like major mainstream grunge band that had crossover ability.
Right.
Even before Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Soundgarden was kind of out in front of all that. And arguably, you can say they're probably the 3rd greatest band of that grunge era behind Nirvana and Pearl Jam.
Right. And you could argue that, even Pearl Jam and Nirvana you could argue those 2 being the top 2, but I wouldn't necessarily argue that, but you could. Yeah, it's all just kind of lumped into the same breath. It's when you think of that early era, it's Soundgarden, Nirvana, Pearl Jam,
and I'm sure they're all getting there. But
I think a lot of they're still inducting bands that are like, from the 80s and late 70s and stuff like that. So it's not that surprising that they haven't gotten quite up to the level of the 90s yet. But I agree with you 100%. Is basically what I'm saying. I totally agree.
Is there anyone else off the top of your head you think were kind of snubbed out of the? I guess not. I guess you can make the argument.
Ozzy for sure. Like I said, I thought he was already in there.
I don't think he is.
Well, is there a way you're checking?
I'm checking right now, so that's why I was going to ask if there was any you knew.
Not offhand. Other than Tull, and honestly, I didn't even think about Soundgarden or any of them because to me they're still new bands, but they're not.
But I guess I can make the argument for, even though I was not a fan of them, and still aren't to this day, 9 Inch Nails.
Are they in there?
No.
They better not be.
No, they're not.
And not before Soundgarden, anyway. Does it have a list, or is it just...
Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Let's go ahead and talk.
Okay. So, how about that local sports team?
Well, at least I can kind of riff on my own while you check and do
riff?
things.
Do you want me to do some scat? Boop-a-doo-boo-boo.
Oh my God, what the fuck? Oh yeah, here. Hold on. So I'm pulling up the inductees. I know 2019, the Zombies just went in this year.
Yeah, and they'll go back to the 60s.
Yeah. Roxy Music just made it in. Radiohead just went in. Stevie Nicks, Janet Jackson, Def Leppard, and The Cure.
Okay.
Went in this
See, that's
year.
what I mean. Oh, yeah, The Cure. Because nothing's going to ever beat Robert Smith being interviewed by that girl and she going, "Oh my God, are you guys excited to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?" And his answer is, "Not as excited as you are."
I don't remember seeing that.
That was so funny. And he just said it so like stone cold, just like,
well,
we're not as excited as you are. So.
But it's actually kind of interesting. So 2018, they didn't have a big class going. Bon Jovi, The Cars, Dire Straits, Moody Blues, and Nina Simone went in. That's it.
Huh.
But yeah, no.
Well, they only induct so many at a time.
Correct. So you've got to have. I don't remember how many people vote. So you got to get nominated, and then you have to get 50% of the vote to make it in.
Right.
Or above 50%. So that's why the class changes from year to year.
Right.
But yeah, no, Ozzy is definitely not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, Alice didn't get into like 2012, 2011, maybe.
Red Hot Chili Peppers were inducted in 2012.
Okay.
Guns N' Roses was 2012. Donovan's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right, Donovan's in there, but Ozzy's not.
But Ozzy's not.
Or Jethro Tull for that matter. I don't know how many hit singles Donovan had. I can think of 2. Hurdy Gurdy Man and fucking Mellow Yellow.
But I think he wrote. I think he helped write a lot of hits.
I think he did.
Just like
Neil Diamond.
Neil Diamond did the same thing.
Yeah.
Beastie Boys went in 2012. Neil Diamond went in 2011. Alice went in 2011.
Yeah.
With the Stooges. Oh, no, Stooges were 2010. Run DMC's in there obviously because of the whole Aerosmith thing.
Right. Well, I mean, I
that's
guess
really the only connection to
rock
music.
But there's a lot of other like R&B kind of bands in there and groups that I wouldn't necessarily classify as rock by traditional standards, but it's kind of under the umbrella. With some of that early like hip hop rap, could that be considered rock? I mean, could rap be considered rock?
I don't. I think they're the only like rap artist that's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Okay. I think I'm pretty sure.
Because there's some disco bands and stuff like that, like
Grandmaster Flash.
I guess is that a disco band?
No, but that's rap.
Okay. I just I mean I don't necessarily classify it as rock, but I know it's under the umbrella of rock.
Percy Sledge. Anyway, we'll move on, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, there's definitely some. I was really surprised by a couple. I was definitely Ozzy. I was like, how the hell is he not in there?
Right.
I mean, there's not too many.
I mean, for a solo career, because he's in there for Sabbath.
Yeah, he is. And
his solo career was far more successful than Sabbath's career ever was, up until 2013.
Yeah.
His first 2 albums went like triple platinum. Or at least double platinum.
Yeah. I know they sold really well. That's for damn sure.
And then No More Tears fucking did the same thing.
Exactly.
So, I mean, he's got to have at least 3 or 4 albums that hit number 1.
Mm-hmm. No, he should definitely be in there. All right, so I guess we move on to some
of the rare stuff we're looking for.
Rare gems we're trying to find on vinyl.
Yeah, I'll let you go first because you spent time with your notes. I didn't.
Actually,
I did because
number 1 for me is, and I've never even heard it. I've only heard people talk about it, and I've read articles about it, and that is the Robert Ludwig pressing from 1969 of Led Zeppelin 2.
Right, because I don't know what the difference is.
So
I know you've tried to explain it to me, but it didn't sound that different to me.
So they pressed it hot. So it was pressed with deeper bass, more bass to it, and basically what it was is there was so much bass and depth to the album. If you turned your record player, if you turned the volume up, if you had a cheaper record player, when the bass lines would hit, it would make your record skip. So that's why they recut the album. They didn't recut it, but they repressed it, and they took some of the bass out of the album. So yeah, the
original press. So that's like an original press.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay.
Correct. But they're hard to find, and if you can find them,
they're super expensive.
I wouldn't say they're super expensive. They're over $100.
That's super expensive to me for a record.
Really? Because you're looking at one that's like $300.
Well, yeah. There's one I consider spending, and any of the other ones that are over $100, it's going to take quite a bit of internal persuasion to get me to even do that.
And I've seen some of the RL pressings that are just under $100, so you can get one around $100 depending on the quality of it.
Well, that's the thing. I'm willing to spend money too if it means higher quality on a used.
Yeah, because you're talking about an album that's 50 years old.
69. So yeah, 50 years this year.
50 years.
Yeah, 69.
So yeah, people were returning the album
because it was skipping.
Because they thought there was something wrong with the album.
Huh.
And it was just there was so much bass in the album that made their record skip.
Huh.
But I've heard people talk about how incredible it sounds.
The deepness, the depth of the sound.
The depth of the sound.
Be interesting. I mean, I wonder why they wouldn't have I can understand them toning it down for a pressing, but why wouldn't they? When they Led Zeppelin re-released all their albums on CD, remastered in like 1992,
something like that. I remember the
because I got the I had the box set.
Yeah.
I had the box set, and those were all remasters. So I would assume that they would have remastered them from the original masters rather than those pressings.
I don't know.
So it would have had that deeper sound. So for all I'm
well,
just
no,
thinking,
yeah, they would have been remastered from the original pressings.
right. So I'm just thinking that as far as like the new pressings would have that deeper sound anyway.
I don't think they do.
I haven't listened to them, so I don't know. But I would think that they would have been pressed from the original master.
Well, I don't have an RL to compare my Led Zeppelin 2 to.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, fair enough. But it just seems like doing it for the one pressing, but then, you know, when you've remastered for digital and remastered back to analog.
But from what I understand and what I've heard of it, there's a very audible difference between the RL pressing and the all the pressings that have come after that.
Huh. Yeah, like I said, I can believe it if you have like a 1970 pressing and a 1969 pressing. Those two are going to be different. But a 1969 pressing and a 2017 pressing or 8 or 16 pressing, whenever they just repressed them all. There shouldn't be a difference between those two.
I know that Metallica there's been some issues with some of the Metallica re-releases also of
manufacturer problems.
Well, a similar thing of skips on bass lines and things like that.
Okay.
But
well, I haven't listened to Injustice for All, which is another one I forgot to mention I got. But I have Master of Puppets and Ride the Lightning, both remastered, and they sound. I've listened to my remaster of. I've got a remaster of Injustice for All. It sounds fine.
Yeah. So. But I've bought 2 copies now of the Black Album, which the first album, both sides sound great. The second album, side D, sounds great, but for some reason, and nothing else matters, skips on both of them. Like not just like once. I'm talking like multiple skips throughout the song, and I've cleaned the hell out of both of them.
That's so
and
weird.
Some of the skips have cleared up, but yeah, I don't know what it is.
So weird.
But it's that one song on both of them. It's not like a bass heavy song or anything like that.
It's not a song that you're willing to pass over either. It's a good song.
It is a good song. It's probably one of my favorite Metallica songs.
Yeah, so it's like, that sucks. Because there's a couple songs, not many, on the Black Album. They're just like, okay,
Yeah.
If it was one of those, I wouldn't care. But
side D.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the last whatever, but
the last like 3 or 4 songs.
Yeah, but that's a song that you can't.
No. And then number 2 on my list was Anima by Tool.
Yeah.
Which I'll take any pressing of it. I'll take a fucking bootleg. I don't care. I just want it on vinyl.
Yeah.
But even the bootleg copies are well over $100. They're ridiculously expensive.
Huh. Interesting.
I don't know why. And the funny thing is, like, I've seen
Maynard is really, really stingy about his music. So it makes sense that it's.
But why? With that album? So they re-released Undertow, but why not that album?
Because I don't know.
The only pressings of that are original pressings.
Yeah.
There's been nothing else.
Perfect Circle, their stuff's all been repressed, if memory serves.
So I don't know what it is about that album.
I don't know. I can't speak for them, so I don't know. Maybe it's in the works. Maybe it'll be a Record Store Day album.
Well, so they've mentioned, or not. Well, he hasn't, but other band members have mentioned the fact, because I guess they're working on a new Tool album.
Yes, they are. At least that's what I've read too.
But they've been mentioning for a year now that they were going to repress everything. But I don't know if they're just.
Well, it could be there could be a backlog, because there is a backlog.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Every, not every album, but depending on how you plan it, you have to book or arrange to have your stuff pressed.
Oh yeah.
At least 6 months before it's due to come out.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm going through. I'm waiting for Logic's new album to come out. Right. When I ordered that, they said it was like a 4 to 6 month wait.
With the CD, you can have that out in a month.
Yeah, probably less than.
Yeah. So
the biggest thing with a CD is getting the packaging together.
Right. So
I don't know what are a couple things you're looking for.
Well, first and foremost, and these are ones that fell off on me that shouldn't have, but Alice Cooper's "Welcome to My Nightmare 2," which I've seen in the store for $35. I didn't have $35, and this was like, oh, I'll get it next time.
This is back when Ian was poor.
Yeah, it was back when I was poor, and now, it's as high as $92.
Well, 92 is not too bad.
Not too bad. It's still high. And then also, Alice Cooper, Along Came a Spider, up to $114.
Yeah.
And I've actually seen that even higher. I've seen that as high as $220.
Wow. Actually sell that or being listed as that?
Being listed as that.
Okay.
And then Dragontown, which is, it's not one of his more popular albums. It's a 2003 album.
Mm-hmm.
But it was pressed in 2011. $119.
Really?
Yeah. I only buy mint or near mint.
Yeah. Near mint's fine because near mint is generally mint.
Right.
It just.
Right. Well, that's what that Catfish Rising was, and it looks fantastic.
Oh, yeah. So Ian brought a copy of Catfish Rising over. I just cleaned it for him, and it looks great.
So beyond that, a lot of it's stuff that's like kind of popular, but for some reason hasn't been repressed or re-released, so it's really expensive. Tori Amos from the Choir Girl Hotel. That came out in 1998. She was releasing her stuff. Like the first 3 albums were released like on an anniversary.
I don't think I've seen any of her stuff on vinyl.
Yeah, her first 3 albums, and then as a record store day, her like very, very first album when she was like kind of in a band.
Yeah,
the band was called Why Can't Tori Read?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So that was a record store day exclusive. I picked that up, but that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But her from the Choir Girl Hotel would have been the next one that was reissued on the anniversary, but they didn't do it.
They didn't do it.
So I don't know why.
Have they done anything after that, or
no?
They just kind of stopped.
Well, and the problem is, and I think this is going to be the problem for the next, like, from the Choir Girl Hotel is a long album, so it'd be a double album.
Yeah,
makes sense. The next album was a double CD.
Okay.
So that's going to be 4 albums. Because the studio, it was a studio album and a live album that came in a package. Okay. So it was called To Venus and Back. The studio album was 67 minutes of music. So that's going to have to be on at least 2 vinyls. Yeah. The live was well over 60 minutes of music. Okay. So that's, again, you're talking at least 4 albums. Okay. So not that big of a deal. But it's going to be pricey. And it'd probably be 50, $60. And that's an album that maybe not a lot of people would buy. It's hard to say. But after that, really, Scarlet's Walk, Beekeeper, and American Doll Posse were the next 3 albums. Those albums are all 77 minutes long. Okay. So that's, I mean, again, they're latter day albums. They're not early albums that are like popular. Okay, so that'd be a double album. It would probably be a triple album because 20 minutes per side. They're doing two discs for 45-minute albums nowadays.
It'd be an album that's under 80 minutes. You can fit fine on a double album.
All right, and you're probably right because Boys for Pele was reissued and that was a double album and that's 77 minutes long too. So yeah, but it's just I don't know because generally they did press several of those albums. Yeah. Back when they first came out, but they're super expensive too.
Yeah, because generally they say anything over 20 minutes per side gets compressed.
Right. So American Doll Posse, I'm looking at spending probably a minimum of $105. Yeah. From the Choir Girl Hotel, a minimum of $250.
That's tough.
That's going to be tough. So I mean, those are 2 that I really, really need. Beekeeper, I couldn't find on the list, so I don't know if maybe that one might not have been pressed.
Maybe it might not have been.
Me and the Devil by Robert Johnson. I haven't found it, but it's relatively new, so I'm holding out hope that I can find a new copy. Otherwise, I can just buy it here, and it's not that expensive. No, but the highest it's sold on here is $18.
Well, that's not bad. So I mean, obviously, I enjoy going to the record store and buying things at the record store, especially the store. Dearborn Music's great. I love going in there and talking to the guys and going around and bullshitting, talking records with people in the store, but I have no problem buying stuff off of Discogs. It's a great resource. It's far better than eBay or Amazon or anything like that.
Well, it's got more than Amazon. I've bought a record or 2 from Amazon. I haven't had any problems with that.
No, neither have I. But
it's just selection. You're going to find obscure stuff, and you're going to find it more accurately priced.
Correct.
On Discogs.
Correct. Some of the stuff I've been looking for, I've been. MXPX hasn't. I don't know. They probably never will re-release any of their stuff, but
just maybe 2 wouldn't be cost effective for them because they're independent.
Correct. So it'd be it'd be a big hassle and pain in the ass. It'd have to be something that would be initiated by the record label,
right?
That owns
which
the rights
means
to
they wouldn't get anything out
of it. Slowly Going the Way of the Buffalo, I would love to have on vinyl. I found it on Discogs. You can get it every once in a while. But it's normally $150 or more for it. I've got Appetite for Destruction on vinyl. I got the one that they re-released last year. I don't know if it's an anniversary edition. No, it's not an anniversary edition, but it's I don't know. It was the part of the whole box set that they re-released or they released last year. So I've got that copy of it. I had an original pressing because I bought it brand new right after it came out when when Welcome to the Jungle was still like the hot single.
Yeah.
That's when I bought it on vinyl. But I would love to have the Rape Scene,
right?
Which there was a UK pressing and a US pressing. When it was released in the US, and it was like 8 months before any of it kind of caught steam. So as soon as it kind of got popular, people were like, they were refusing to sell the album in their stores because of the album cover.
Right.
This is in the U.S. I'm talking about. Obviously, the U.K. they didn't really give a shit.
Right.
So it was only sold
and to be fair, I'm not usually one for like getting all uppity about that shit, but it's a pretty graphic scene.
It is extremely graphic. But so it was only sold in the U.S. for a small period of time. So a U.S. pressing of the Rape Scene, you're probably going to spend $150 to $200 plus on. But the UK actually pressed it for a much longer period of time. So you can actually get a UK pressing, which is probably what I'm going to end up buying. You can get a UK pressing for $30 to $50.
Which isn't bad.
Which isn't too bad. I've spent more than that. I spent
I spent $45 on that Catfish Rising, and I mean that's nothing.
Oh yeah, I spent $75 on Lies.
Yeah.
Or 75. Right. Actually, I might have spent more than that.
Yeah.
Because I bought that from the UK. But Lies is something that's never going to be repressed.
Right. And if it is, it's going to be edited.
Well, they've already said that they'll never repress it just because 1 in a million.
Okay. Well, I was figuring they would repress it without that song on there.
They might. But well, they did in that. So they released a box set. The Appetite for Destruction set came out, and it came out with another set, a bigger set. I bought just the album.
Right.
But you could have spent a couple $100, I think it was, for the bigger
box set.
The bigger box set, and it came with an additional album that had all the songs from Lies on it, minus 1 in a million.
Yep.
So that's why they'll never re-release it.
Right.
So yeah, the Rape Scene would be cool to have. Losing Streak by Less Than Jake.
Yeah,
I would love to have
another
on
one.
vinyl.
I've had that on my list for a long time,
and that's expensive. I've seen copies come out, and they're not like super expensive, but they're easily $75 to $100.
Even the picture disc ones, because it was released on picture disc, and those are super expensive. And I don't even want those, but because I want the original.
Yeah, I'd like to have Losing Streak. I don't know why they haven't. They need to re-release their stuff. I don't know why they haven't yet.
I don't either.
But I'd like to have Turn the Radio Off by Real Big Fish, which is I've got it on Discogs. I don't know if I've even seen a copy of it hit the market on Discogs.
It's hard to say. Yeah, I haven't looked for it.
So. Spring-Heeled Jack's Songs from Suburbia, which I have seen on Discogs. It always fucking gets bought before I can get on there.
Right.
I'd love to have that on vinyl also. Well, I got more, but I'll let you talk for a minute.
I don't have too many more, I guess. Tell 'Em I'm Gone by Cat Stevens. Well, Yusuf Cat Stevens. It was released in 2014. Even when it came out, I couldn't find it on vinyl. Dearborn Music didn't have it on vinyl or anything.
Oh, really?
But it was pressed on vinyl.
Okay.
So I've been really trying to find that one. This is a weird one, even for me. But the soundtrack to the movie Shocker, Wes Craven's Shocker.
I've seen that online a bunch of fucking times.
And it's cheap. It's not even that expensive.
The funny thing is, I always think of you when I see that damn.
I don't know why, but I don't usually buy movie soundtracks. But for some reason, I got that one in 1989 when it came out. I had it on cassette, and I fucking wore that cassette out.
Yeah.
And I would like to have it on vinyl just for nostalgia, and it's cheap. I can get it for like $15 on Discogs. So it's probably one of the next ones I'm going to buy.
Yeah.
But I just thought I'd throw that in there because it is very obscure. And then there's the main one, Jethro Tull's Roots to Branches.
Yeah, which I'm sure that's
the most is sold for is $225.
It's currently listed for $204 on Discogs.
But then again, I'm only buying mint or near mint, and I obviously would prefer my sales to be within the U.S., but I'll go as far as Great Britain.
Yeah, you're not going to get that in the U.S.
No. Great Britain and all that I'm fine with.
Yeah, just long I'm not going to buy it from like the Czech Republic or anything.
Or
like
Russia.
Russia. I see a lot of Russian pressings. Slowly Going the Way of the Buffalo right now is listed at $188 on Discogs.
Really? Yeah. So that's up there with that with Tull.
So some of the other ones I was looking for is, and this is something I haven't seen, and hasn't been for sale on Discogs, is "Wish Animals Were Here" by Pink Floyd.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it's the 1977 release of outtakes from "Animals" and "Wish You Were Here."
Yeah, and
it's from what I've heard of it because they've got videos of the recording on YouTube. It sounds really cool. They've got so Pigs on the Wing it was part 1 and part 2. They're split. They bookended Animals.
Okay.
And Wish Animals Were Here has it as one song with like a 2-minute guitar piece in the middle of it. So it sounds really cool. I've heard that on YouTube. So I'd love to have that. Another MXPX album, The Ever Passing Moment, is another one. I don't know if I've ever seen it for sale on Discogs. I'm clicking.
Well, other than you can find the CD.
So
that's listed as vinyl.
It was definitely released on vinyl. But
there's none available for sale.
No. So the last time it was sold was April of this year for $84.
Okay.
So that'd be another great album I'd love to find. And then Everlast, Whitey Ford Sings the Blues, which I don't know why, but it's every time it's on Discogs is expensive as shit.
Really?
Like it's north of $100 or right around $100.
Huh.
Which I'm really surprised because I don't think the album sold all that great. It had like one great song on it.
Right.
Well, one
good song.
Well, I think it's a great song, but it sold. That one song probably sold the whole album. I was trying to find it on here. Here it is. The last time that was sold was May of this year for $101.
Huh. Yeah, it's definitely not one on my list, but I found a few more that.
Yeah. Well, real quick, I got one you'll laugh at. It's Pink Fong is the name of it.
Pink Fong. Okay. For some reason that sounds familiar. Maybe you've told me about this, but okay.
It's a 45 picture disc.
Okay.
Of the song Baby Shark.
I'm not going to laugh at you. I'm going to judge you harshly.
But it's great.
If I had
it's
a
got
weapon,
this, like,
I might use it.
It's got this like cartoon. I don't know if you can see it on here, Ian. But it's got like this like cartoon yellow and white shark face on the cover of it.
Anyway,
it looks, and it's normally pretty cheap. It's like 20. Right now, it's selling for $22.
I would. You couldn't pay me to have that.
No.
Anyway.
How about this one? The Great Radio Controversy by Tesla.
No, that's cool.
I'd like to find that on vinyl. It's been on Discogs, but it's generally there's only a couple of good songs off of it. That's why I'm like, I really don't want to pay $60.
Tesla's kind of hit or miss with me.
I really
too.
don't want to pay $65 for it.
Right?
You know?
Yeah, they're a bit hit or miss too with me, but I like a lot of their music. It's just I don't know, not $65 worth.
I think it's normally about roughly what it runs.
Yeah. Well, it's just like Styx. If I hadn't found Grand Illusion for used for $10, or it wasn't even $10, it was like $9 at Dearborn Music. That's not one I would buy. It's good. It's a great album, but it's not. It's a great album for $10.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the best song on it is "Man in the Wilderness." Well, maybe not the best song, but it's my favorite song on there, and it's But anyway, 3 more, and they're all the same artist. Ozzy, we were talking about Ozzy. No More Tears on vinyl.
I don't know why that's so expensive either.
Because it hasn't been repressed.
Okay, but still,
I mean, they're all 1991 pressings.
I would expect it to be pricier, but not as expensive as it is. It's like over $100.
Well, it's $169.
Yeah, see, that's crazy. Crazy talk, I tell you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I get it, but here, this one's worse. Osmosis, that came out in 1995. It was the follow up to No More Tears. $431.
Really?
Yep. The lowest it sold for was $200, and the average is $252. But that's going to be for a VG minus. Or,
yeah, I'd say I'm not going another route. I'll get VG plus. I'm okay.
Yeah, I'll go as low as that.
I'm okay with VG plus.
I prefer, and then Scream, which was his last studio album that came out in 2010. Now this is post the beginning of the vinyl revolution.
Yeah,
$227.
Really?
Yeah.
Must have been like a limited pressing, obviously.
It was. I think at that point everyone was still kind of limiting their pressings, but
yeah, I think you probably had to because there really wasn't a whole lot of pressing houses.
I guess I shouldn't say Ozzy, but the Ozzy estate, the business side of Ozzy's stuff, has never been shy about double dipping their audience and remastering stuff, putting stuff out. I don't understand why. First of all, the only 2 albums he's had repressed, like officially repressed, are Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. Everything else is not.
I don't know why.
Right. Because, those were his first 2. I get it. And they were anniversary editions for the 30th. But that was in 2011. Was the 30th anniversary. But he hasn't done any of the other ones. And it just doesn't make sense that he wouldn't have done any of the other ones. Bark at the Moon, Under Ultimate Sin, No Rest for the Wicked. Those were all big albums.
Yeah, they were.
All sold well.
Yeah.
No More Tears. You do an anniversary of that. I guess they could do that in 2 years.
Maybe after he dies, maybe his kids will be more interested in it. But
maybe. I mean, they don't really need any more money.
No, but I don't necessarily think that's really what it's about. But I don't know.
Well, but it is. I mean,
I think it's more has to do with the hassle of putting it all together. Getting all the rights and all that stuff.
But see, they could rely. It's all studio stuff. They could let the studio do it.
Yeah, that's true.
It really, just because he owns.
But a lot of those artists want to be hands on with all that stuff.
Ozzy's not like that. His wife might be though. She's his manager.
Exactly.
But I don't. He's not. He doesn't care.
Real quick, I did want to say the Great Radio Controversy. I was wrong. You can actually get copies for under $20 on Discogs if you want like Italian pressings and things like that. Yeah. If you want something from the U.S., you're going to pay $35 for it, so it's not too bad.
Oh no,
it's cheaper than I thought it was.
Tesla's still not. I don't know if they're a $35 album band either.
No, I'd pay $20 for it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that one.
Another one that I've seen that's always really expensive is White Light, White Heat, White Trash by Social Distortion. I don't know why got me all tongue-tied there. And that's normally pretty expensive online.
Is it?
And even on like eBay and things like that, it goes for pretty for more than I would think it would. I was trying to find it on here. Social Distortion, Sex, Lies, and Rock and Roll. Sex, Love, and Rock and Roll. That's going for $70 right now, which I thought was a really good album. Another one I was looking for was Why Do They Rock So Hard by Real Big Fish. Probably their second best album.
Is it?
Yeah. And then last but not least, it's an MXPX album. So I mean, it's a really good album. It's one of their earlier albums, but it's where I stole the name of our show from. Life in General.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's there's a bunch of stuff out there that, of course, I'm always looking for, and there's a bunch of like really obscure shit I'm always looking for, like Pride by White Lion and some other things. But
this is another one I just kind of
The Living End.
Yeah, their first album, $66 is the most it sold for. That's not too bad. I think I'd be willing to spend up to maybe $50 or $60 for it.
That'd be a hard one.
Because it's obscure. It's obscure enough.
And I've seen it for cheaper than that.
Well, the lowest it sold for was $20, so it's in that range depending on the quality. So.
Another one that kind of I've got on my want list on Discogs, but it's not necessarily the one I'd probably ever pay a lot of money for because I didn't think it was that great of an album. Is Downward as Heavenward by HoF. It's the album that came out after.
You prefer an astronaut?
You'd prefer an astronaut, but it goes for $100. I mean, right now it's going for $95 on Discogs.
Really?
Yeah, $95 plus shipping.
Yeah, I mean I don't know if that'd be worth it.
You can pick up a copy of the Rape Scene UK pressing, $26 plus shipping.
Yeah.
But now, granted, you're shipping from the UK, so shipping's gonna be $20 on it. But
right, well, you can almost justify that because it's just getting here. There was one other one. It's obscure, but it's cheap. It's the band's called Pseudo Echo, and the album's called Autumnal Park. But that's the highest that sold for is $15 on Discogs.
Really,
I've looked at Dearborn Music. They don't have it. I've looked several times.
No.
But they came out in 1984. It's like a new wave kind of
Okay.
band. Just that album was the only one that I've ever owned of theirs. But I mean, they're still around. They're still making music today. But
are they?
Yeah, they're just, that's the only one that really stood out for me. And ironically, this is why. There's a song on that album. It's called His Eyes. You know the scene in Friday the 13th, Part 5, where the chick is doing the robot dance?
Oh, yeah.
That's the song she's doing it to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So,
And that's why you want the album?
well, I like that song.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I like that song.
Just poking around on Discogs here. Yeah, Life in General is going for $68 right now, which isn't too bad.
No.
That's probably cheaper than I've seen it in a long time.
And I can see you spending that because MXPX is like one of your favorite bands.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
It's
Alice Cooper.
probably-
I'm going to spend $100 on an Alice Cooper record. On 3 of them, probably. 3 each, $100 each.
Depending on the day, I kind of flip back and forth between MXPX, Blink-182, and Pink Floyd. Those are my top 3 bands, depending on the day.
Tull's always going to be my top, but my second favorite band, there's really no question there. It's Counting Crows.
Yeah.
So it's probably Tull,
And
Counting Crows, Green Day.
And they've got a lot of stuff they don't have that they've not re-released.
There's a few. This Desert Life, Hard Candy, and Saturday Night, Sunday Mornings.
Yeah.
Now, Saturday Night, Sunday Mornings came out in 2008, so it may have been pressed. I've never looked it up.
No?
Shit, I just closed down. It's probably one I should be looking for.
Because I think there's still 3 or 4 Pink Floyd albums I still need to get.
Okay.
Because I just got Ummagumma. I don't have More. I don't have A Momentary Lapse of Reason. I don't have Delicate Sound of Thunder. And I don't have Endless River.
Okay.
So I need to get... I don't know if I'm going to get More. More is not really... I mean, it's a studio album, but it's a soundtrack to an obscure movie that no one's ever heard of before. Called More.
Right.
Which one?
And you said you listened to Endless River, and you
Endless
actually-
River is really good.
Yeah.
For what it is. It's not like a rock album.
No, it's instrumental.
It's ambient music.
Right. But it's mostly outtakes from the Division Bell sessions.
Well, it was recorded. So a lot of the music was recorded around that time. It was It was a lot of Richard Wright's outtakes.
Okay.
And then they reworked it all after he died.
Okay.
And the title comes from a line from High Hopes on. It's probably the best song off of Division Bell.
Okay.
What Counting Crows album were you looking for?
I just looked. There's no vinyl version of Saturday Night, Sunday Mornings. There's no vinyl version of Hard Candy. And then I was just about to look up This Desert Life.
I got This Desert Life right here.
Is it?
It says vinyl and CD.
Well,
Hold on, I'm looking. Yeah, it was released on a double LP
okay.
in 1999.
Which is when it came out.
Yeah.
Which is weird that it was pressed in '99. What's the cost ratio on that one?
Oh, let's see. 217 for sale.
Uh-huh.
This is thrilling talk radio.
Yeah, I know.
On vinyl, there's only 3 available on vinyl. $270 is the cheapest.
Yep.
So from $270 to $400.
And I love that album. It's like I said, they're probably my second favorite band, but I can't see spending $400 on a fucking record. I just can't.
No. There's people out there that do.
I mean, if I made 3 times what I make now, sure.
So that's the cool thing about Discogs. Every month they put out a list of the top 10 highest sales for the month.
Uh-huh.
And it's like a bunch of shit you've never heard of. They'll sell for like $15,000.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If my paycheck was triple what it is, I would have I would probably have bought everything on my list already.
Probably.
But I'm still in the realm of living within a budget, being sane with my money.
Sane, yeah. Don't be crazy.
Yep.
But I don't know. That's all I got, man.
I mean, I'm sure there's probably a lot of other things we're not thinking of that are obscure that will pop up in our head. Something we heard when we were like 10 years old, and we're like, "Oh, I'd love to have that," even if it's just for nostalgia.
Oh yeah. But
for example, I just thought of one, the Footloose soundtrack.
Which I've seen multiple times.
Have you?
And I've seen it for like really cheap.
I don't know why I'd want it. I don't like any of the songs. It's nostalgia. I like that movie and that, it's...
So I was at... So I went to Solo Records this past week, which is out in Royal Oak, Michigan. And they had a copy of Footloose. It was actually a pretty decent copy. Probably just needed to be cleaned up. I want to say it was $2. And
I'm sure Dearborn Music has a copy or two of it too.
It's probably not for $2.
No, but
I looked at it a couple of different times. I was like, man, I should probably pick that up. And they got like a dollar record bin, and there was like 4 or 5 things. I was like,
for $1.
For $1, but I was like,
I'll buy that for $1.
Oh Jesus, you're such a fucking pinhead.
But
yeah, I've seen it used at Dearborn for sure. I think I saw it used there last week.
It shouldn't be much more than like $10.
Yeah, like
I'd spend $10 on it.
It's. I think those kind of albums are normally like $6 to $8.
Yeah, so
because I got the Steve Miller Band's Greatest Hits for $6.
Yeah.
I guess something else along those lines is the same kind of price. That Leonard Skinner Street Survivors I bought. I want to say I paid $8, $9 for that. But I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff out there. I enjoy the kind of these vinyl episodes that we do, and my wife probably doesn't because
that's one thing
it kind of drives me to find some of this obscure stuff.
Real quick, I guess I should point out I finally got my record stand this month.
Yes, Ian finally joined the rest of humanity.
Yeah, where my records are displayed properly and orderly, and
it looks nice too.
Yeah, it turned out pretty good. So I put a lot of work into it. It's like 2 days worth of work into it.
That's funny.
So
yeah, and I think I wanted the stand you have, which you bought from IKEA.
I did. It was $110.
Which I'm part of a couple of different vinyl groups on Facebook, and everyone raves about that stand you got.
It's holding up. I mean,
Calyx, I think is what it's called. Calyx stand.
Yeah, that sounds right. I don't remember. I just bought it and put it together.
Kallax.
Yeah,
shelving is what it is. So Calyx. But yeah, that's what a lot of people seem to use. If it looks like it fits the records just fine.
Oh yeah, there's
just a clearance. Barely.
Yeah, just a little bit of clearance on the top, which is perfect because I think a record is 12 inches or 12.25 inches, and you got 13 inches tall.
I'd just be worried. I got a couple of box sets that are a little tall. I got a Christmas record box set that's
really tall.
That's considerably taller.
I'd have to. I mean, next time you come over, bring it with you. We can slide it on and see if it'll fit.
But yeah, I'll probably end up doing this because I'm kind of, even though I've had like multiple expansions to my cube system,
right?
I'm kind of running out of space. I got 2 cubes left open, and if I go buy more records tomorrow, I'm gonna be filling. Well, I'll be partially filling that
second
the one cube, and I've got a couple of my cubes are kind of tightly packed, probably more so than they should be. I need to space them out a little bit, so that'll probably definitely push into one of those cubes. So I'd say probably the next couple months I'll probably have to do something different. At the rate I've been buying records,
probably. Lately. Yeah. Oh, next couple months. Yeah. In the next couple months, you'll have You'll have those filled up, and then 3 more started, or at least another 2.
Well, no,
another one filled, another one started.
So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 6 cubes full of records right now. So I definitely have to do like a.
What do you think you fit
4x4.
on a shelf? How many are roughly just the average size?
I don't know, probably
Just rough guess, 60, 50 to 60.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Okay, we'll say, our sake of argument, I think 60 is probably fair. And by that standard, I have just under 200 records estimated, because I haven't counted mine yet.
No,
But I know I was over one. I know I'm over 140 for sure, because I counted at one point I was at 140. And I'm trying not to count my duplicates, because I got a shit ton of duplicates now too.
well, I mean, you got to count them, the records. I've got a couple of duplicates. I count mine.
I don't, because I'm gonna sell them or get rid of them. So
I got you. I got 312 is what I've got. So I've got 312 records and 6 cubes.
Okay.
So about 50.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
52.
Yeah, but we'll take out the box sets. I've only got the one box set in my.
That's true. I think I've got.
But I do have a lot of
three
like
or four box
we
sets.
pointed out, a lot of newer albums, because they're 180 gram. They're thicker.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of those that are, so they're taking up, one will take up the space of what used to be 2, theoretically.
Some of them,
like the White Stripes and the Jack White stuff,
those are
really thick.
Those are really thick.
Yeah.
So
And my Green Day 21st Century Breakdown is very thick too.
I've got what's that Lady Gaga movie that just came out?
Star is Born.
Yeah, Stars Born. I've got the soundtrack, and that thing is like,
Super thick.
yeah, it's probably the thickness of 3 or 4, probably 3.
It's only one
standard
disc?
180. Oh no, it's a quadruple, I think.
Oh well, that's
That's
fine,
why.
Yeah.
But-
But even so, quadruple album back in the day would still be half that size.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
than it is now.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
you're
let's-
pointing that out with my Catfish Rising, how thin that from a 1991 pressing.
Yeah, the thing is like it's not 120 gram. It's
It's like
got to be
100 gram or 110 gram.
110 gram maybe.
Yeah. Which is hilarious, but I mean that's
I can hold it by the edges on each index finger and flop the middle of the disc. That's
yeah, it's very, very thin, but it was 91, so I mean CD sales, I think were at that point were already well beating vinyl sales.
I don't know.
By
if they were.
91, because I had got my CD player in 92, and by then everything was CD.
I don't know. My brother got his CD player in '89. I didn't buy my first CD until '97 or
Right,
98.
but you were weird.
Yeah, I was still listening to fucking records.
Yeah,
I
would have been if my mom hadn't gotten rid of my stuff.
I was weird. I used to love it, man. Me and Corey, one of my friends, we would go to the flea market on the weekend, and I'd just buy records because you could buy them for like $2.
Yeah, sometimes even less. Like you get 50-cent records.
Yeah, and I had some great freaking '60s, '70s, and '80s music on vinyl for next to nothing. And now I'm like, man, I wish I had this shit. Like I had a. I got a copy of Led Zeppelin 2, which I never played. Mm-hmm. I got it for cheap at the flea market. Don't know if it was an RL pressing or not.
It might have been.
It might have been.
And it just got tossed.
It's got thrown in the garbage with the rest of my records.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate.
It really is.
But whenever I'm at the record store and I flip through and I find a Led Zeppelin 2, I always pull it out and look in the run-out groove and see if it's got an RL stamp on it.
Yeah.
Because you never know. You might come across it. I would assume that Dearborn Music would probably be looking for something like that. But
most likely, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they know that. I mean, it's.
Oh, I'm sure they know that.
Yeah, probably.
But then again, I bought a record that goes for $700 to $900 online. I bought it for $11 at Dearborn Music. Right.
So that slipped through the cracks.
Yeah, and I was the jackass that told him that it goes for that much online after I paid for it.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would just feel so bad for them. I'd feel good for me, but bad for them.
And actually, it's gone up because at the time when I bought that album, I think the cheapest I'd seen it for was like $150 or $175.
Yeah.
And now on Discogs, it's going for well over that.
Wow, that's crazy. But yeah, when you told me that, I was like, "So when are you selling it?" You're like, "I'm never selling it."
Never selling it. It's a fantastic album.
Yeah.
It's Everybody by Logic, if you're wondering. I was going to look on here and see real quick. Why don't you go ahead and do a little do some riffing there, Ian, while I look real quick.
Riffing or scatting? Because I'm not good at either one, honestly. I mean, you heard me scat. That was pretty shitty.
Is there anything you're good at, Ian?
Procrastination.
That's very true. Ian's very good.
I am Olympic gold medalist at procrastination.
Not writing notes. Ian's in a class
all by
himself.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Vinyl. I was gonna see. Oh, here we go. So right now, cheapest $375.
So that's
the most. The highest on here is $1,200, and that's near mint.
Right.
Well, it says brand new, unplayed, but it's definitely been opened.
Right.
There's a couple of them they're sealed on here, but mine is a beautiful copy.
Yeah. Well, it would look brand new, practically. It probably was practically.
It probably was never even played.
Yeah, arguably.
I mean, it just came out a couple years ago, so.
It might have been someone who had it, and either something happened or they got married and just never got around to listening to it.
Or the kid goes off to college and mom and dad cleaned out the room.
Yep, that's actually more likely. Yeah.
Probably.
Or kid went off to jail. Who's to say?
Yeah, that's true. Sell all the records so they can
bail them out.
Yep. But anyway, that's all I got, Ian.
Yeah,
we've gone like super fucking long in this episode.
Have we?
We're almost an hour and a half.
It's still not our record, but
no, it's not. But I'm the one that's got to edit it, so real easy for you to go for.
Absolutely.
I'll spend 3 hours editing this show. That's all right.
You won't. There's not that much.
I know it's not that bad. Well, anyway, any questions or comments, you email us at contact@lifeandjournalpodcast.com. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, all that jazz. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes.
6-star review.
There is no 6-star review.
Leave it anyway.
Oh, fuck. Fucking Ian. Fucking killing me.
I'm trying.
Then you have no podcast.
Well, just because I'm the ultimate procrastinator doesn't mean I can't do something.
Because you've released an episode of your other podcast.
One.
In 3 months.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and when they start coming out, it'll be because of my co-host on that show.
So, yes, Ian is a slacker.
Yes.
All right, well.
There's more to it than that, but okay.
Until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Peace.
Playing my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Yo, lady, drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the ring. Got you some cobras, you wanna hang. Shoulder to shoulder, them niggas basic. You know I won't lie. You know that I ain't for that fuck shit. You niggas alright, but I'm way better and she love it. Know that y'all sick as fuck. Here go this tissue, bro. We taking the dub. Hoping you get you some. This hit like a pick me up. She taking my drugs. Know they see the sign. That's some dollar signs. Know they sick as fuck. Know they sick as fuck. Tell them get well soon. Tell them get well soon. Know you sick as fuck. Get well soon.
Oh shit. Watch out, you the god, Billy. Oh shit. Right now, and I'm smiling in your face, bitch. With a gold smile, you should probably make placement to your eye. Niggas sick as fuck. Standing with niggas who down for that party. Who down for some bitches who